season testing here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Oh, this is going to be different. I have never ever done commentary during a practice session before. This is going to be very interesting. Alongside me today, or well tonight in your case, Dougie Falcons. It's fantastic to have you here today, mate. A real professional of F1 2019.
Am I really that professional? But hi.
Well, you're professional in my case because I am absolutely garbage at this game. I really am garbage.
I would even say that. I think everyone's getting them right, but welcome. It's a bit of a. I've never done a preseason test before. Commentary. This is going to be a fun one, but welcome to preseason testing for Silver, the very first for Season 9. Let's do switch for the session for Season 9 for TCR. It should be I have no idea what to say. It should be a very interesting preseason test. We haven't actually confirmed the drivers, I believe, who are going to be in Silver yet. But these are the actual candidates to be in Silver. And at the moment, 6 drivers have turned up for this session. Yeah, that's all I need to say for now. But yeah, back to you, Smith.
Yeah, this is going to be my first. Oh my goodness me! Case in your face, having a big moment at turn 4. But as I was about to say, this is going to be my first season in the TCR family, I suppose. First time hitting the big leagues, I suppose. Well, it's big leagues in comparison to some of the other leagues I've been to. Hopefully, I'm going to enjoy myself. It sounds absolutely fantastic. 19 drivers in this Silver Championship, and that's not including any... wait, none of the drivers in the Silver Championship are in Gold or Platinum, are they?
No, Silver is basically the foundation tier, so you're allowed to run your assists here. You're allowed to run ABS, medium traction, and manual gears. I think is the recommended, and racing line is the recommended assist for Silver. And then it kind of encourages you now to get to Gold, where Gold is completely no assists, just racing. Actually, just racing line. Gold and Platinum are just racing line. So it kind of encourages you, if you want to progress to Gold or Platinum, you would need to take off ABS, take off no traction, and potentially no racing line if you feel you're comfortable with it, and try and progress up the tiers until you feel with that perfect medium. And then obviously the pace will come out with that as well. So this is just a very foundation tier where the drivers can be able to... They want to just, if they're new to league racing, yeah, be comfortable. If they're new to league racing but they want to be in a league, this is probably the perfect sweet spot for it. So, yeah, that's what it is.
So amongst that, we've also got a new calendar for this year, brand new calendar. Subtle changes here and there, not big ones. We have the starting race at Bahrain International Circuit. Then we go to Shanghai, then Suzuka very early in the season to go. Then Singapore, then Silverstone, Monaco, Circuit Paul Ricard, that epic racetrack, that tarmac lake in the middle of France. Then we go to the Red Bull Ring, Hockenheim, Monza, Baku, Belgium. Then we end off in the Americas with Brazil, Canada, United States, and finally at Mexico. It looks like a very, very good season. They've got quite the collection of racetracks, both historically significant and, in general, very good race circuits.
Yeah, very good racetracks. Bahrain being the first race of the season, very technical track, all the way going up to Mexico, ending at another very technical track. So, they are very, very. It's a very good calendar, very clean. I wouldn't really complain about it, to be honest. As myself is driving in Platinum, it's actually a very decent calendar. I would say Monaco's probably the worst one, but I think Monaco is a special event for TCR, as it is they do it slightly differently to the more standard league races we all know. So that would be a bit exciting to find out how they do it. I can't remember the actual way they're doing it, but someone will remind me and they'll actually tell me how they do it. But yeah, overall the calendar is very good. There are a few standouts that people will love, like Britain and Germany. But yeah, it's not too difficult.
Not too bad. I do like it, except for Mexico. In my opinion, I hate Mexico. I really do. I hate Mexico. It is such a difficult circuit to find rhythm in, I think. In Sector 1 and Sector 3, it's so easy to lose your rhythm through those two sectors, because it's so easy to miss a braking point, or to brake too early or brake too late. It's very easy to get early on the throttle and slide the car. And then you go into Sector 2, where you need rhythm. You need rhythm, you need flow. Otherwise, you're going to get corner cut, track extension warnings, and you're going to get a butt-ton worth of penalties. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mexico.
Yeah, I agree. Mexico is a bit. It's a shame, really, because I actually would like a good track in Mexico. It's just that track isn't good. It's a bit, and it's lost its character from what it used to be back in like the early 90s. So.
Yeah, ever since Tilke messed with the circuit, like he always does, he tends to ruin it. It seems.
Yeah. Well, mind you, Tilke has had like some great tracks, like Turkey.
Oh, of course.
Track,
yeah, and Sepang and Bahrain is a pretty good one as well. I tend to enjoy
Shanghai. Shanghai is decent.
It's decent. It's a meh circuit at best. It's meh. What other circuits has he messed with? Let's see. Red Bull Ring, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring. Yeah, he made it shorter.
And of course, Hockenheim.
Hockenheim.
We all know about Hockenheim. What a travesty it's turned out to be. Not on the real-life Formula 1 calendar for 2020, which is quite a shame, after it had such a spectacular race last season in the real world of Formula 1. COTA? Now, COTA is an interesting one, for sure.
Circuit in Americas. Yeah, it's alright, but it's like a wannabe Britain. I always call it a wannabe Britain.
Yeah, wannabe. Well, yeah, it's got Maggots and Beckett's in the first sector.
Yeah, it's got like a it's got a big strain.
Yeah, and it's got Turkey's Turn 8, well, wannabe Turn 8.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few splashes of Hockenheim within it as well. I think.
Yeah.
Right. No, it doesn't. Oh. No, it doesn't.
But yes, as this is testing, we only have 6 drivers at the moment. Maybe a few more might join. These might come back. But yeah, 5 minutes after this practice session, and then we'll be going straight into a race rather than qualifying as the usual format. Normal format, if you haven't noticed, or known, is usually a short qualifying. You're off for about 20 minutes, and then, or 18 minutes, and 50% race. But for this session, it will be only a practice and then straight into a race. It's filled with 6 drivers for the silver car. At the moment we have Mando 45, the fastest time of 20.3, but it's completely irrelevant. Dolphin Chaser in P2, Colin P3, Bam Bam P4, Robin Hood Lawyer in P5, and P6. Also advised that none of these cars are given to these select drivers yet. because we haven't actually confirmed the drivers kind of a lineup yet. But these are also confirmed drivers that will be racing into the next season, I believe. So it's just really seeing who's got early pace, who we think that's going to be quick in the early phase of testing. I mean, we can't really give a true reading of what the testing will be, but hopefully we have an eye in, we have some sort of barometer to it would be interesting in that sense.
Well, yeah, to me there is a degree of usefulness, because as it is my first season, I don't know the true pace of each driver within the championship. So at least it gives me a bit of a reference to how quick each driver is. Unfortunately, there's only 6 drivers, so and I don't think many of these guys, or if any of them, will be on 100% pace right now. Oh no, there's 7 drivers in here.
Yep, 7 drivers. D switch to students.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, with 2 minutes left of the session, again we're going straight into a race. Maybe some more people might have joined mid-session, we didn't know. Yeah, 20.3, early stages on the soft tyres, a good-ish time. But it's about 3 seconds off the pace to any time really, as Casey Race loses his back end, hits the wall and camps it. And retires. Practice session. The snake.
Oh, jeez. I'm not gonna lie, I am very, very lost on what to say. Let's see, what happened? We talked about the season, talked about the circuits.
We haven't talked about Spain.
Spain? Well, what is there to talk about Spain, really? It's such a bland circuit in both in-game and in real life, as Kono almost loses it at turn 9. I mean, I suppose it's supposed to be Spain's sort of premier racetrack, I suppose. There's not...
Jerez is. Jerez is better.
Yeah, Jerez
is miles.
Well, here's the thing. Spain actually has 4 circuits that can host a Formula 1 race. And this is the one they go for.
Yeah, no, this one, Jerez. Valencia.
No,
Valencia.
not Valencia. Valencia isn't on that list, amazingly. I was quite surprised about that. There's a circuit called Ricardo Torres, I think.
Yeah.
They used it as a test circuit for the Formula E Championship. And the other one is Aragon, which is the circuit that the MotoGP use.
MotoGP is, yeah, Aragon.
But yeah, it has 4 circuits total that it can use. 4 Grade 1 FIA rated circuits. And this is the one they go for. This one.
Yeah, but Aragon is very... This has got a lot of gravel traps because obviously it's bikes. And it is quite narrow, if I remember. So... And then Jerez is about the same thing. But then there's talk about Spain moving to Jerez in real life. The Spanish Grand Prix for 2021.
Okay.
So there's also that. But that's the Spanish Grand Prix. Practice session / half of the test.
6 drivers total. What is this? Gran Turismo? Like older Gran Turismo?
Gran Turismo, one bus already leaves.
Oh my god.
But
Oh,
so
here comes the
I think
improv. Alright.
as we head to the race, people. I think a lot of drivers are not trying to show their true pace. That's why they're not turning up or they're not doing the race. So at the moment, we've only got 4 drivers.
4
Fantastic.
drivers.
4 drivers.
Okay. Okay. I have never commentated on a race that only had 4 drivers in it. That is amazing.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it is pre-season testing. So the fact that more people are watching the stream right now.
Yeah, there are more people watching than people competing.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what is?
As Mando leaves the session, it's a 3 everyone racing has got a guaranteed podium in this race.
Yeah, I don't think there is probably going to be a race at this point. It's probably just going to be just 3 people. But at least we've tested the stream. It's actually working very well.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Stream is working very well. 6 people are watching, by the way, with 3 drivers in it. But there we go. I don't know. Should you really talk about this?
I suppose we should.
What? But we haven't really confirmed the drivers yet. So, Casey in your face is in the Ferrari pole position. Connor is in P. Well, Connor's gone. So Robin Hood Lawyer is P3 and Dolphin Chaser. Last person there. So
we now have. How do we have 8 people watching 8? You literally die. Oh my goodness me!
8 people watching the stream right now.
8.
God, love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it. But at the same time, Casey in your face doing the formation up with Robin Hood Lawyer, Dolphin Chaser. Hopefully, they actually give like a nice, good first stint. If they really, really wanted to do this, give us a nice, good first stint to actually give us some content. Give the 8 people watching some good content.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
okay.
at least, we can confirm that TCR is back on February 6th. And also, as a side note, we also have a promo for Fanatec wheels. I think it's we have a promo for Fanatec wheels? I keep forgetting the promo for Fanatec wheels, but bear with me.
So,
so basically, TCR has an affiliation with Fanatec wheels. There's a link on the description, and there's also a website so you can get 5% off if you enter the code TCR to get 5% off on your next Fanatec wheel as we start the session.
Alright, as the drivers are lining up on the grid, God, this is intense. 3 drivers all competing for the win. We've got 5 red lights, and it's lights out of the way. We go. Casey in your face gets a brilliant start off the line. Oh, what an amazing start. Absolutely majestic. Robin Hood just in behind. But Dolphin has a look down the inside into turn 1, and he gets the job done. Can the Mercedes driver get a switchback? No, he cannot. Through turn 3 they go. A small lift from Dolphin Chaser. He might be running with slightly lower aero. And oh, Jesus.
So we got Casey in your face leading from Dolphin Chaser. 7/10 is the gap from top 3. And yeah, it was a good start from Casey in your face. It was a very clean start. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing happened, no carnage. Watching 3 drivers just go around Spain as Casey Dolphin Chaser has a look at the inside of the camster. As he loses it, Casey up pace and into
oh my goodness.
Dolphin Chaser.
How can you crash with only 3 drivers racing? Oh my goodness me. Oh, and he's left the session. It's now a 2-horse race. Between Dolphin
Fantastic.
Chaser and Robin Hood. Oh my goodness.
The crash in that one, it was like fucking, it was like, it was like
Oh.
Spain 2016 all over again.
Oh
There we
my
go.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Robin Hood leads the Grand Prix from Dolphin Chase 6 seconds back.
Oh.
Poor Dolphin Chaser. He was looking for a good a move on the inside. Duck Kiss in Your Face hits him and came together at turn 9.
Is there anything else that we've forgotten to talk about? Let's see, we've done the drivers, we've done calendar, you did the promo.
Oh yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, will be pre-season again for Gold and Platinum. So that'll be tomorrow for all of us.
Hopefully it'll be a bit more constructive than this.
A bit more constructive. At least you know what we need to do. I mean, I think we are also commentating for that as well. For Gold and potentially Platinum. I will not be on the test, but I can commentate. Potentially for that. And yeah, we're only on lap 2 of 3 on the pre-season test.
33 laps of this.
I mean, we don't necessarily to watch the rest of this. We can end the stream at any time you want, Schmeg.
Yeah, that's true. Oh well. Maybe we should just turn this into a podcast or something.
Yeah, we could. We could talk about anything. Actually, talk about it. What do you want to talk about, Schmeg?
What can we talk about? I did notice something in the news that Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he did. He got a 5-year contract. No, 4-year contract.
4-year contract, yeah.
He did, yeah. I have my thoughts on it, but I'll ask, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I heard rumours, I can't remember how long ago it was, but of him potentially moving to Mercedes. And I thought there was a possibility concerning Lewis Hamilton's move potentially to Ferrari. But to hear that, he's now got this extended contract going past the 2021 regulations that is confirmed. It's sort of telling me that I think Lewis is going to be staying at Mercedes, potentially long term. So I have a feeling that he won't be moving to Ferrari anytime soon.
My thoughts on it is, well, yes, the rumours were there because obviously before Verstappen was joined at Red Bull, he was part of the Mercedes drivers program. Well, he could have joined the Mercedes driver program at the time, and that's why the rumours have always stuck that he was going to go to Mercedes and drop Red Bull. So I can understand why people have been saying that for years. But Verstappen, I think Verstappen at Red Bull makes sense because Red Bull love him so much to the point where they know his ability, and I think everyone knows his ability is great, but I think they love him so much to the point where they actually need him as a team leader, and he's probably Red Bull's future if they can win a championship ever again. That would be Verstappen, and then whoever it may be at this point. At this rate, it's Alex Albon at this time. I think Verstappen is their foundation, and if they lost Verstappen, then they would have probably lost everything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I don't think they would have won a championship ever again if they didn't have Verstappen.
Yeah.
But there is a potential if they got the car and they've got Verstappen, and they could cause a threat to the championship, and that's what Red Bull want. They want a Vettel-esque type driver, and they've got Verstappen for that. And they've got a backup driver, which is like Albon or maybe Gasly, just Kvyat, and they've got that foundation. So they've got support. Oh. But back to the Verstappen thing, I think Verstappen is in the right place in the right time for Red Bull. I think they might do something for 2021. We don't know. And yeah, that's my thought on it for Verstappen. And also Leclerc.
Yeah, well, they're the only two drivers that have confirmed contracts past 2021? Or is there another?
No, there's a couple more. There's George Russell, Ocon, Ricardo, Verstappen, Leclerc, and someone else. But those are the confirmed drivers. There was a list, actually. I'm going to find that list. But they are confirmed probably beyond 2021.
Oh, okay. As Robin Hood comes into the pit.
No. It's Ocon, Perez, Verstappen.
Oh, that's right, Perez, of course.
Yeah.
But speaking of Verstappen, do you think he might be able to mount a challenge to Lewis Hamilton in 2020 this year?
Can he mount a challenge?
Yeah, for the driver's title.
Not to Lewis Hamilton. I think if it was, we'll find out in 2021. But I don't think it'll be with Lewis Hamilton. I think it'll probably be with Leclerc. Him and Leclerc will be battling for a championship at some point in like 2023. And then that would be like a very classic year, 2023. I'm kind of excited about that than I am for 2021, if assuming Mercedes dominate again. But we don't know. We could assume that Leclerc or Verstappen or Hamilton could just like dominate the next era, because one team got the actual regulations right in 2021. So yes, Verstappen could mount a challenge, assuming Red Bull got their act together in the race, in the regulations.
I'm hoping for a title challenge. It's very clear that Red Bull and Honda made massive leaps last year, rather, in 2019, with Verstappen being in the points the third best driver. So, but whether you're right, whether Red Bull or Honda get their act together and really pull it all together.
Yeah.
I also agree that with Hamilton still at Mercedes, it's unlikely that anyone else will win the championship for at least 2020 or potentially 2021.
I think everyone kind of loosely knows that Hamilton's probably going to win the 2020 championship. I think everyone's just like, well, if Mercedes build a good car and they actually get in, well, Hamilton gets, not to say good fortune, but to be fair, last season Hamilton didn't got a lot of good fortune from last season. If you actually look back, so for example, Bahrain, where Leclerc had an engine failure, or let's say another track that he won that he shouldn't have won. But there's a few other tracks. There's a couple other tracks he won, but he shouldn't have won. I can't remember the other one. But my point is,
what was the other one?
Mexico probably be one of them. Mexico, I don't think he should have won that. I think Verstappen should have won that, or the Ferrari. And also, another thing is that Hamilton never got going to qualifying as well. He was never that great in qualifying last season. He was starting to show, and we're not really noticing it until like 2020, where he might not get as many pole positions as he used to, because Leclerc got 7 pole positions last season. And maybe the crack starts to show in 2020 where he's not as maybe a 7-time world champion.
7 times? Oh, wow. 7. Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around that Lewis Hamilton. That's pretty amazing of what he's been able to achieve with Mercedes.
Yeah, we'll have two living 7-time world champions.
Yeah.
2020. That's insane. So they would have won 14 world championships in total. That's kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
In this past, think about it, in the past 30 years, Schumacher and Hamilton have won 14 world championships, assuming that's like half the championships.
Yeah, that
That's
is insane.
if you think about it. Yeah, if you think about it, yeah.
I mean, you could almost
Schumacher and Hamilton in
you could
30
toss
years.
Vettel into the same boat as well, like 4 championships next to his name, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so like in the past 2 decades, from 2000 to 2020, so Schumacher 5, Vettel 4, that's 9, and with Hamilton 6, 15 championships in the past 20 years. The only other driver is Alonso 2, Raikkonen 1,
Yeah.
and
Button
1, Rosberg.
and Rosberg 1.
The sport completely dominated by 3 drivers in 2 decades.
Yeah, I find that crazy, to be honest, where only like 3 drivers dominate a championship.
Yeah, I mean, in the history of Formula One, we've never really seen that. I mean, you've got drivers who dominate, but eventually their domination is broken at some point. But yeah, in this modern era of Formula One, yeah, it's quite amazing.
I mean, if Mercedes dominate, if put it in perspective, if Mercedes dominate 2021, then they would have won almost 4 regulation changes if you count Braun. They would have won 4 regulation changes in a row. Which is actually quite incredible. If they break 2021, as Mercedes, it would be their 3rd in a row. If you count Braun, it would be their 4th in a row. But it's insane what that team can do.
Insane. That is really insane.
And this regulation change is meant to even the pack and destabilize, in a sense, destabilize Mercedes.
Well, that's what it's, to a degree, that's what it's supposed to do, and it's also supposed to make it easier for the drivers to actually race each other as well, with the reduced aero over the front and rear of the car, trying to effectively remove DRS, I suppose. I mean, is DRS? Are they using DRS in 2021?
DRS?
Yeah.
DRS will be used in 2021, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be used in 2021, but it might be its last year, depending on how well these cars can actually follow each other, and if DRS is too effective, then they might get rid of it in 2022. But DRS is here to stay in 2021, so the times won't be up. Well, they're projecting the times will be about 2016 speeds, which is about 3 or 4 seconds slower than what they are right now. So basically, the speed of Williams.
Well, the sad thing is, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. Oh.
So basically, Williams are leading the pack right now. If this is 2021, Williams will be dominating right now. They know how to make a car that's about 3 or 4 seconds off the pace of our current 2019 Jaguar car. But there you go.
Oh, wow. And also, another thing that they're going to introduce for the teams is the salary cap that each team has to abide by, which I think is 150 million euros, I think. I
think it's 180 million.
80 million. Okay.
80 million, yeah.
So
and
I suppose they're
that's
trying
kind
to
of
bring new teams into the sport, I suppose.
yeah. They're trying to do that, and they're trying to like make big teams, rich teams, not like spend too much to
Yeah,
try and
splurge
gain.
money at the car
Yeah,
to make it overpowered.
yeah.
Like,
And that's what they're trying to do. But the thing is, it's not really gonna. I don't know if it's gonna work because the budget teams like Williams, Racing Point, Haas, for example, will don't even spend 180 million on their car. They
no.
probably spend not as much as that. So, and Mercedes, yeah, they probably spend like 200 million, maybe 300 million, but I think they could probably manage it really well. I think it wouldn't make much of a difference, to be honest. I don't think, anyway, the budget cap, because I feel like it's just gonna make Mercedes better, because they know
Well,
what to do.
yeah, that's exactly right. And also, you noticed with a few teams, they're splurging money last year on facilities and whatnot in preparation for
Oh,
2021.
2021, yeah.
So,
Yeah, Racing Point.
yeah, Racing Point definitely was one of the teams.
That's another issue, is that the rich teams can basically just splurge right now before the cost kick happens, and then they can literally just be OP for the next like 15 years because of the cost cap, because they had to implement it before then. So they would have spent like hundreds of millions of pounds before 2021. That's what Ferrari are doing as well. Ferrari are saying this is going to be their most expensive year
Yeah,
in 2020.
just because of the amount of money they're putting into facilities and resources
Yeah.
in preparation for all the new regulation changes. Robin Hood manages to spin it at 10. Oh, to think there's still actually a race going is quite remarkable between two racing cars. But one thing I've actually noticed a little bit in their attempt to bring in new teams, to think that the youngest team in Formula One currently is Haas, and that's pretty obvious. Brand new team from the States coming into Formula One with some European. They do have a European secondary base somewhere in England, I believe.
Yeah.
But every other team in Formula One today are at least, I believe, a decade old or more, or 2 decades old rather, because now it's 2020. You got the obvious ones like Ferrari, Williams, McLaren.
Do you technically count Racing Point in that?
Actually, that's where I'm going to go with this. So Mercedes used to be Brawn, and before that they were BAR Honda. So they were there in the early 2000s and 1990s.
And before that they were Tyrrell.
Were they Tyrrell, really?
Yeah, were Tyrrell, yeah.
Wow, they're even older than I thought. Then you've got Racing Point, and they've been under like a dozen different names, like Force India and Midlands Formula One. The most famous of Spiker, and the most famous of which is probably Jordan.
Jordan.
And I think there's another one that I can't remember. Sauber, they celebrated 25 years in 2017. One I've got questions about is the Renault team currently. I wonder if it's the same Renault team that Alonso was a part of.
But yes, it is. Yes, it is. But the Renault team kind of raced twice. Renault used to be So Renault right now is Renault. Before it was Lotus. Before that it was Renault when Alonso was there. Before that it was Benetton. And before that it was Tolman.
Yeah.
And then before that was the very first car, was Tolman. And at the same time when Tolman was there was also another team called Renault. But Renault folded. Renault folded in 88, I believe, or 90, I believe. And then they went. And then Benetton took over the Renault team. That's why they're... So technically, Renault raced twice together.
Okay. I've never known that. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Other teams. Red Bull, so they go back to Jaguar, before
Jaguar, and they were used to be called Stewart
Stewart, that's
back in
right.
19.
And Toro Rosso, they were Minardi Formula One team before they
Yep.
became Toro Rosso.
And then it became Toro. So, but there was like a thing where they were only called Minardi when Red Bull bought them, but then that never happened. Shame, because I actually it'd be nice if they were just called Minardi. And they would have won. They would have actually won a race. I actually claim that I'm not going to call it Toro Rosso, I'm call it Minardi. Minardi won a race in 2008 Italian Grand Prix.
Fair enough, with Sebastian Vettel at Monza.
Sebastian Vettel. Yeah.
Could you
Like,
imagine that? Like, saying that
Minardi
winning a Grand
What?
Prix. Let alone getting on the
never put that-
podium,
that's what-
winning a Grand Prix would be
Yeah.
epic. Oh, I don't think I've missed any teams, have I?
And they would have had 2 podiums. Actually, think about it. They were still called Minardi to this day. They would have had 2 podiums.
2 podiums.
Yeah.
Minardi Formula One team, secretly a god tier racing team. Who would have thought? But yeah, it's quite amazing to think how old all of these teams are, except for Haas.
Yeah, that's just
Which
like the only
I don't
team.
think they bought anyone, did they?
They didn't buy anyone. It was completely fresh team. We've
There
not
you
had that for like 6 years before Haas joined, which was like the budget team, the 3 budget teams.
Yeah, so Mana would have been the last team, wouldn't
Mana, yeah, Mana, Lotus, and HRT,
it? Team.
Spania Racing Team.
Yeah, before
But,
they reintroduced the 107% rule, which pretty much kicked out all of those teams.
No, they actually, funny enough, the 100%, 107% rule, that rule, they actually never actually hit that. I don't think they hit that as many times as people think. They only probably hit it like 3 times ever.
Really?
And it was only Virgin, aka Mana, aka that Mercia,
Yeah.
that team was the only team to ever do it. HRT never did it. Funny enough. And
Really?
Lotus
They
did
never
it.
hit 107%.
HRT never did it. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. I thought they were constantly going over, which was the reason why they reintroduced the rule.
I mean, they were slow, but they weren't that slow. They weren't 7 seconds off the well. 107% means you're 7 seconds off the pace. And they weren't 7 seconds off the pace. The only team that actually did that was McLaren. McLaren hit 107% rule. 2015.
Wow.
And there was another team that did it. I think Mana did it in Malaysia 2015. Mana did that 100%.
Yeah, I never knew that. I thought they were constantly hitting it, which is why they brought the regulation back in. But no, there you go. But
They only brought it in because of the small teams, but they never actually hit it, so it was kind of like an irrelevant rule. But there you go.
And if I'm not mistaken, the maximum amount of cars on the grid in Formula One is 26, I think. I think it's 26.
I think it's maximum you're allowed to have is 15 teams. 15 teams.
Wait, how many teams? 15.
15, yeah, because there's a 30 grid slot.
Okay, so 30 cars are allowed to be on the grid. Okay, so potentially we could have, like, if anyone wants to take advantage of the regulations in 2021. I mean, would any team be interested in going into Formula One?
What team do you think? What team do you think might join into Formula One?
Well,
Because there's been so many rumors right now, I can't even think right now.
well, you've got some of the Formula 2 development teams that might want to have a go. I think what is going to happen, if any more teams are going to join, they're going to be development teams for bigger teams in sort of like the top 10 teams within Formula 1. sort of like what Red Bull do with Toro Rosso. It's sort of there acting as a platform for young F1 drivers to then get experience, learn the tracks, learn the cars, learn how Formula One works before jumping into one of the really big teams like Red Bull. So I think potentially maybe Ferrari would like another, well, because sort of they have Alfa Romeo and they kind of act like a development team of sorts. But maybe Prema from Formula 2 might want to go up into Formula 1.
There was talk about a Formula 2 team, I think it was Campus.
Campos?
Yeah, Campus wanting. Yeah, it was Campus that wanted to.
Haven't they already tried entering Formula 1 at one stage?
I mean, kind of. Kind of. I mean, they did get in it. It was HRT. Kind of. Because they. Well, the thing is, they were gonna go in it, so they got the entry, and they were gonna be called Campus Racing, and then a Spanish guy bought it and renamed it Campus to Hispanic Racing. That's why they were in it, but they weren't in it, kind of thing.
Okay. But any other teams? I've heard rumours about Aston Martin, but I don't really see that happening, to be honest.
No, I think they're tied to Red Bull too much now. I think technically, you could say that Aston Martin has a team with Red Bull because that's technically their brand. And I mean, it's like throwing out there, but Aston Martin technically have a team. Aston Martin, Red Bull Racing, Honda. So, and plus Aston Martin don't really make engines anymore. So, well, they do, but they don't really make it like good engines because they have like more deals with Mercedes in their road car development.
More deals with Mercedes, yeah.
Yeah. So, if anything, if they were going to make a team, they would have a Mercedes engine, and they would have a Honda engine. But
yeah, a bit of conflict of interest between the two.
Yeah.
Well, I
have
actually heard of rumours. I don't know how true they are about Lawrence Stroll wanting to buy some sort of share within Aston Martin, turning Racing Point into a factory team, which I suppose makes sense with the Mercedes side of things, as Aston Martin uses Mercedes engines within their road cars. But what they've got with Red Bull at the moment, I think is very good. And I don't really see them changing anytime soon.
Yeah. I think Mercedes... I think Racing Point, the whole Racing Point Aston Martin thing, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's happening. Maybe in 2021, but definitely in 2020. I think Aston Martin and Red Bull are happy together. And there's that. I don't know what team will join in 2022, potentially, because I don't think any new team will come in 2021.
Yeah.
I think
that's fair call.
I think realistically, looking at 2022, if you want to see any new teams coming in, maybe 2023. And then it also depends if these regulations actually do good for the sport as well, and that's what they're kind of like waiting on. So, yeah, and there have to be particular interest for the other drivers. Like maybe, you never know, maybe like BMW might come back, which I kind of hope. BMW. That's the one team I kind of do want to come back, or engine partner come back, is BMW.
BMW. Yeah, I could see a couple of German marques wanting to enter the sport. Obviously, a popular one is Porsche. Everyone wants Porsche to come back. Oh, well, come back in brackets. But, I don't know, I don't see them entering Formula One anytime soon. They've sort of pulled back on a lot of motorsport. A couple of years ago, then pulling out of the World Endurance Championship. in the LMP1 class anyway, but they still got GT cars. And they've actually made some moves with Formula E, creating their own works teams. So, yeah, I don't see them entering Formula 1 anytime soon.
They literally dropped the WEC for Formula E. They literally just dropped it for that. Like BMW did, like Mercedes did for their DTM. They literally dropped their DTM category just so they could just do Formula E.
Well, dropped in brackets because they've now got Aston Martin's racing, which are effectively Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes engines, yeah, if you think about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Any other teams?
I think I can't think of any other teams. I think realistically you have to look at like Mercedes Mercedes by making another team.
Maybe a proper development team of some sort, perhaps.
Yeah, like a feeder team. So like people like Ocon and George Russell, they're driver development. Something like what Red Bull do. I think that's what Mercedes should do, to be honest. I think they should make a Toro Rosso-like team. Toro Rosso also next season will not be called Toro Rosso.
No, that's right. They won't be either. AlphaTauri. What?
AlphaTauri.
Yeah. I'd rather like Toro Rosso, and now they're changing it to AlphaTauri.
Toro Rosso is Italian for Red Bull, so technically, just calling it Red Bull, which is. But there you go, AlphaTauri. That's the name. Going around. So
that was an order from the head of Red Bull, wasn't it? Because they wanted to promote their clothing chain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, their clothing brand, their premium. It's actually quite expensive. Have you actually seen the pricing for the AlphaTauri clothing brand?
No, I haven't. I might have a look.
Well,
now.
it's actually quite expensive. I was looking at it. It's like $300, nearly $300 for like a jacket or some shit. I'm just like, quite pricey, isn't it? Yeah. There's still 8 laps to go of Spain. I'm surprised we actually talked to this long to actually go for 8 laps to go.
We still have 2 drivers in it. It's good to see they're sticking. Holy shit, that's expensive. Oh, I didn't mean to use that expletive because, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh my.
I was like, AlphaTauri is really expensive. I'm just like, why is it so expensive? Is this a Red Bull?
It's a Red Bull shirt. It's a shirt with Red Bull on it. Why is it that expensive? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay then. I'm not buying any AlphaTauri merchandise anytime soon. Wow.
So yeah, there you go. So AlphaTauri is quite an expensive brand. But yeah, back to the original thing. Mercedes should make a Red Bull, a Toro Rosso-like team. I think Mercedes should really do that. Because you've already got Ferrari, which has like Alfa Romeo, and you got Red Bull, which has AlphaTauri, and now you've got Mercedes. Don't necessarily have a
proper feeder team.
Yeah, a proper feeder team. And I think they should really do that. Like they got Williams and they got Racing Point. Racing Point are doing their own thing, and Williams, but Williams are also trying to be their own team, and they're trying to be a former championship-winning team back rising from the ashes kind of thing, a phoenix, if you will. So Mercedes kind of do need that, I think, at some point where they need a B team.
Well, also that depends on their future within Formula One, because again, rumours, there is something going around about Mercedes dropping from Formula One altogether. This comes after the recent conversation between Toto Wolff and McLaren team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the McLaren team. Yeah, I think. Well, the thing is, they did sign another 5 years. Well, they did sign the Concord agreement to go for another 5 more years. Mercedes, so Mercedes is staying until 2025.
But whether they
Mercedes
wish to invest for a 5-year period on a brand new feeder team,
I mean,
maybe
they could do that, or they could just. I think they're probably analyzing 2021. If 2021 is successful, then they'll probably invest in the feeder team and be like a bit more long term. I think Mercedes have got the money. I mean, they've won 6 championships in a row. I think they've got success. They've got success now. They're probably one of the most successful teams of all time, except for Ferrari and Williams and McLaren. But I don't know. Mercedes are it's a bit up in the air one. They could literally do anything they want because they've got the money, the resources. They literally got everything. They could do whatever they want. They could literally drop out right now. I don't think they would strictly care. I would say, but they could literally do that.
because I don't think they would need a feeder team based on how much success they have now. I'm actually thinking a bit of the opposite. If they're successful, like stupidly successful like they have been, I don't think they will really need a feeder team because they're telling every driver on the grid we're the best thing. We have the best car. And if they approach the driver, I mean, do you really know to driving a Mercedes?
I think when Mercedes' success finishes, I think if they lose 3 in a row, they'll drop out the sport.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think the consensus is that if Mercedes literally lose 3 seasons in a row, I think it's 2023 to 2025, they'll drop. They'll go because they've already won like 6 championships in a row. They don't need it. They literally don't need any more championships at this point. If they lose 3 in a row, then they'll just take their L and go. That's literally, I think, the consensus is that if Mercedes, as soon as Mercedes stop winning, Mercedes will go.
Fair enough. I agree with you completely with that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They have literally won everything so far. I mean, 6 drivers' championships for Lewis Hamilton, plus 1 with Nico Rosberg. Oh no, sorry, 5.
5 with Hamilton, 1 for
Rosberg, and
6 constructors in a row.
And clean sweep the constructors' championship
in this hybrid era. In the hybrid era, they've won every single thing.
Yeah, I agree with you with that, 100%.
I think Mercedes needs to well, I don't know, maybe they'll stay. Ferrari definitely will be staying because it's Ferrari and they've got the history and they've got the money. And yeah.
Oh, well, according to one of the guys back in TCR, you guys didn't have to do the 50% raise. Okay. Wait, what?
Well, apparently, tell Dolphin, Jason, and Robin about it.
Fine that you did say we didn't have many people. Well, yeah. We got 2 now, with 4 laps to go. How have we talked for this long? Anything else?
But yeah, I mean, there's 3 laps left.
Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the spectacle that it could have been, I suppose. There's no championship points on offer. You're pretty much only fighting for the win. So drivers can go all
respect.
out.
Respect to Dolphin Chase for actually doing a full 50% race for Musty on his own.
Oh, same with Robin Hood. I mean, he's stuck in there.
Yeah, props to those two. Like,
I
he's
mean,
literally been driving.
These guys are going to be absolutely electric when. Oh wait, no, there's no championship round here in Spain. Oh.
There is no championship round. No, it's pre-season.
Oh. Oh well. Credit to these two. Yeah, absolutely right. Credit to these two. Just hung in there. In fact, Dolphin is looking like he's going to lap Robin Hood. Robin Hood in the middle of turn 3, Dolphin entering it.
But yeah, 2 laps to go. Dolphin chasing it in the Williams. Maybe this is the car he. It is good to have a feel for a car that you might get or a feel to pick. For I think Dolphin chasing in the Williams. I feel like he might be wanting the Williams, and he's just having a good feel for the car. First race, as we know, is Bahrain. Talk about Bahrain for a little bit. Bahrain's going to be a great track. Should be exciting.
It's going to be a very good season opener, I think. Like, Bahrain's a very consistent track when it comes to action and good overall racing. It's just very well designed.
Yeah. So Bahrain should be a very interesting opener, I think. But the options to see how the early pace is in Bahrain, and then obviously we get to tracks like China, and then Britain, then Germany, then all the way to the end of Mexico. But from then on there, it is pretty much there and then. 2 laps to go. Dolphin Chaser.
Well, speaking of circuits, coming up to 2020, Vietnam and Zandvoort coming to the calendar for 2020. How do you think they're going to go? Both tracks, respectively.
Vietnam could be good. I feel like it's gonna be like Valencia, where it'll be hated at first, and it will do like one crazy race in 2012 or 2022 or some shit.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna start loving the circuit.
Yeah, it'll be like Baku in a way, where it was boring in 2016, but everyone loves 17 and 18.
Because with Vietnam, it's got quite an interesting layout. It's basically ripped off other famous parts of other Formula One circuits and sort of turned it into a Frankenstein track. I mean, you got the turn 1, 2, 3 complex, which is very reminiscent of the Nürburgring. And then you've got sort of a bent Shanghai back straight, where you've got, like in Shanghai, got left into a banked right hand.
Yeah, it's twice as long as Shanghai.
Oof.
Yeah. It's about as long as Baku. I think it's longer than Baku.
That is stupidly long. Like with Baku, it sort of disguises itself because you got the kinks thrown in, then you got the horribly long straight. But it's just one small kink in the middle of it, isn't it? Or sort of a longish sweeper.
Yeah, as long as right on there, but it's as long as Baku.
And then you've got what's supposed to be the opening part of Monaco, with sort of a Saint-Devote-esque corner, then uphill through slight S's, then what was supposed to be reminiscent of Suzuka, they've changed that, I think. I've read somewhere that they actually changed that last section.
They changed the last sector for the last corner. Speaking of the last corner, Dolphin Chaser is about to finish the race.
Lap 33 of 33. These two guys have been absolutely brilliant. Just driving for the sake of driving. 33 laps of this circuit.
Yeah, we actually did it. We actually did it.
We got through the entire race. So that will conclude the racing, at the very least, of pre-season testing. Look at that. 3 drivers, that's it. Dolphin Chaser from P6 to P1. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, that was something. That was new. That was different. I've never ever done something like that.
Well, you're gonna do it again.
Okay. Oh. And also, the other circuit that we haven't mentioned, Zandvoort, returning to Formula 1 after a long time. And it's got its new banked corner as well. 2 of them, I think, that are supposed to be double. I think it was double the angle than what Indianapolis is.
Yeah.
18 degrees, I think, of banking. 18.
Yeah, and the thing is with Indy, tires have to be very rigid. If you want to do 18-degree banking, especially if it's high speed, tires need to be,
Well, that's a funny thing. The bank corner that has 18 degrees, it's the final turn that leads onto the pit straight, and it's pretty much exactly the same as Indianapolis's what is supposed to be turn 1. It's just this fast banked right-hander that leads onto the pit straight, but it's now even more banked. So and it's kind of worrying when you got Pirelli saying, well, we're not quite sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, because Pirelli were kind of worried because the whole tire, because it might happen, it might become like US Grand Prix 2005, where Michelin couldn't carry the tires and they kept on exploding in the exit of the bank corner. I think Ralf Schumacher broke his back because of it. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do, because at the moment, can Pirelli actually sustain the tires for that track, or they'll have to put special tires for that track only.
I actually read they're not making a special tyre for Zandvoort. I have actually read that somewhere.
They're not making it.
They're not making a special tyre. So they're going to leave it up to the teams to do testing with the tyres they have now, and give the data that they got from testing back to Pirelli for analysis. So then they can actually say that, yes, the tyres are safe enough for the bank corners of Zandvoort. I don't know. It's definitely going to be a talking point when they come up to the Dutch Grand Prix. Whether or not the tyre will hold and whether it's going to be safe to actually race there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of Swag and Dougie's podcast.
No. Pre-season testing that turned into a podcast, because why not? Anyway, thank you, Dougie, for not so much commentating, but just having a general conversation with me and making this a whole lot more bearable. Thank you very much for joining me.
No worries.
Alright, so tomorrow is Golden pre-season testing, right?
Yes, on Thursday.
Alrighty, so thank you whoever's left for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Well, rather listening. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Golden Championship pre-season testing.